Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 186 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Ben, Joey, and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Happy Monday, everybody. Or
Happy
Tuesday.
Monday. Quick shout out to Joey's mom and our aunt. Aunt Nancy's birthday is today.
Happy birthday,
And the three of us celebrated by going to the Cavs game. So, quick shout out to
yeah.
the three of us. Ben, you held it down, though, for us watching the Thunder and that Nuggets crazy game. Did you enjoy that one?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah, we got a lot to get into with that game.
Yes, we do. While we're giving shout outs, shout out to Ohio Pie in Parma for a wonderful selection of pizzas, particularly the peach cobbler pizza. Oh my goodness. That should not even be allowed to be a thing.
Yeah, that came across the group chat, and I had to take a double take because it didn't look so delicious.
It was a special day. Don't expect it often, but it was truly a special
Is there
day.
an Ohio Pie Donut Land collab coming, maybe?
That would be awesome. But I got sad news. Donut Land's leaving.
Oh no, not on the pod! Don't drop it
Oh.
on the pod.
Sorry to burst the news. They're moving. Oh,
Oh well, we'll try to brighten up the mood here by starting off with POELTL, and to start off on POELTL, since we went to the Sixers Cavs game and the Sixers were pretty depleted, we got to see a lot of interesting players on the Sixers, including Cameron Payne, who might secretly be Jared McCain, but we're gonna go with Dalen Terry today, recently acquired there by the Sixers, and see what that gets us. All right, a player in the East that used to play for the Sixers that looks like will be a guard.
James Harden.
Dude,
James
low
Harden.
key, that actually could be James Harden.
it actually might be James Harden.
He fits.
Fits everything.
He fits everything. Well, you know what? He'd be listed at 6'5" or 6'4".
Yeah,
This guy will be shorter.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Let's see who else.
That's not bad though. That's immediately what that's what I thought of first too.
Played on Philly.
Ooh, you know who this could be? A player who was mentioned a lot on this podcast last season, but his team's been very injured this year. TJ McConnell.
Ooh, yes. Older, smaller jersey number. I like TJ.
Started
McConnell.
with the Sixers. I believe he's like number 9.
He is. I think he's number 9 for the
Yeah, I've tried TJ.
Let's try him out. TJ McConnell. Got it.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's back-to-back week or
Snipes.
pods in 2.
Miles is
That's
sniper.
right. That's what I'm talking about. Let us know how long it took you guys to get TJ McConnell. But let's get into the NBA. So much to talk about here today. Later on, we're going to take a look back at the tier list we made nearly a month ago to determine every team's playoff chances here with a month left to go in the regular season. But first, we had some big games over the weekend, as always, and we had a major return to the basketball floor with Jason Tatum making his season debut for the Boston Celtics 10 months after injuring his Achilles in last year's playoffs. He's played in 2 games. He started out on Friday night against the Dallas Mavericks, where they got a nice win, and Tatum looked really good. Then on Sunday afternoon, they went to Cleveland and beat the Cavaliers by 11, dominated the first 3 quarters. And Tatum, again, looked pretty good. He had a great first quarter, kind of tailed off after that, but it was a big win overall for Boston as the Cavs tried to make a comeback late. Joey, starting off with you, how crazy is it to see Jason Tatum already looking like he is right now after just 2 games? Because he has looked very solid.
We talked about it a lot on the ride to the Cavs game today, me and Miles. And I'm stunned. I thought a month would have been a perfect amount of time for Jason Tatum to come back and have enough time to get himself ready into playoff shape. The playoffs could start in a week and he'd be ready at this rate. The way he looked, against the Cavs it tailed off and he doesn't look as efficient, but the way he's moving out there, the way he looks like he still has the feel for it, it's not going to take him long to get back to being that efficient and being that good. Like, and I hate to say it because I hate Boston as a Cavs fan, but they're going to be so scary because he looks so good already.
Yeah, Nick, it really is incredible here. Obviously, just 2 games, but again, he's looked really good. At different points, he's looked even smoother, I think, than, definitely I even thought when, first coming back. And he's been making plays, too. He's really been making his teammates better since returning to the floor.
Yeah, what we have to remember is that, like, the bar, we can't set it, like, as high as he was once playing. Like, he is an All-NBA talent at 28 years old, has won a ring, has got 2 gold medals, and has been like a top 5 MVP candidate pretty much his whole career. So, like, that's a really high standard to get back to. And what I would say is, like, I saw a video on my Twitter feed, and it was like, look at Tatum on this play. And it was on Sunday versus the Cavs, and it was a 20-second plus defensive possession where he has to get to the paint and get back out to the perimeter and get to help and guard the ball. And the tweet was like, look at Tatum on this possession and sort of like, what do you notice? And the people in the comments are saying like, oh, he's moving this way, he's moving slower, he looks really good. Like, so what I got from it was like, I couldn't tell what the post was about. Like, was it saying that he was moving worse or moving better? And the comments also were mixed. So what I would conclude from that is like, he looks good enough to where people aren't sure. Like it's a good thing that people aren't sure if it's being highlighted as a negative or a positive thing, the way like the video was presented.
Yeah, Ben, what do you make of Jason Tatum so far through 2 games and what he's looked like for Boston?
Well, for coming back from the Achilles tear that he just recovered from, being out for a while, like you guys said, his movement was impressive. He's moving quickly already, and yeah, I mean, he's played good for coming back from an Achilles. Like, he's made a big impact already for Boston in both of the 2 games he played in for them, and they were both great wins for Boston, and he was ready against the Cavs in a big one. He was like once he was back, he was hungry, ready to go, ready to compete again. He should against the Cavs.
Yeah, I'm just impressed with how good the Celtics have looked so far. I mean, really, again, just the whole season. And in the game against the Cavs on Sunday, you kind of see why. I mean, obviously, the Cavs missed a ton of threes in the first half, particularly the second quarter, where they just went about as ice cold as you'll see a team go in a quarter. But what Boston does so well and what they've done throughout the season is they don't allow you to prevent them from getting what they want on offense. I feel like they don't really make mistakes as far as turning the ball over. They are the best team in the league at taking care of the basketball. And like we've seen the last several years, usually if they lose, it's them beating themselves with missing shots and going into ISO ball.
And it happens late, like you said, like where they end up not getting the shot that they wanted. Like, it looks out of the ordinary because they do such a good job of, like, what I would say is I turned on the late game, the Spurs Rockets game, and that was the complete antithesis to this one, where like the Celtics are trying to slow it down, limit the possessions. You get a 109 to 98 score. And in the Spurs game, I'm watching Mitch Johnson on the sideline. Every single time the Rockets score, it's like, let's go, go, go. And they put up 145 points in a track meet type game. So it's like, yeah, the Celtics have that kind of game plan, and they execute it very well.
Yeah, just it's been a crazy good season that Boston has had so far. Now they get Jason Tatum back, and they had the big game against the Cavs, and they responded to the test. Now they have 2 big ones coming up this week. First tonight in San Antonio against those Spurs, like you just said, Nick. That'll be a fun matchup between 2 conversing styles. And then Boston will go to OKC to take on the Thunder on Thursday, 10 o'clock on Prime. The game Tuesday will be 8 o'clock on NBC and Peacock. we'll get to the Thunder in a little bit because they had a crazy game as well on Monday night, as we talked about before. But Joey, what are you wanting to see from the Celtics and Jason Tatum in particular through these next 2 games against the 2 best teams in the Western Conference to this point?
I want him to obviously get more efficient and get back to just to see him getting back to himself and playing like he's playing, helping them win against these teams will really show people just winning, regardless, to be honest, how efficient he is, because he is still just coming back. As long as they win and he's making everybody around him better like he has been for the first 2 games, I don't see how anybody else doesn't look at those games and see it's wow, Tatum really does just make them right back into that contender mix that quickly. Even though he's not playing his best, we know he's not playing his best, and they're already winning against the top contenders in the West. That would be huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we've debated who the best player on the Celtics is on this pod, being Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, but our head coach, the Cavs head coach, seemed to put Derek White higher than the both of them when he said that Derek White was a top 5 player in the NBA. That's a lot of high praise. But, I mean, he legit, in terms of shot making, I think he's underrated, Derek White, as a shot maker, because he does some off-balance, very little space, and he just drills them. And then, his defensive impact is obviously people have blind eyes to that nowadays in terms of watching the sport. But for your question, what are you looking for the Celtics? I think anything other than getting blown out in each of these 2 games would be a win. Because psychologically speaking, going into a 7-game series 2 or 3 months from now, you can hang your hat on a 2 or 3 possession game as long as you don't get down 15-12, or even if you do and you're able to battle back by the end. That'll go a long way towards your psyche heading into a 7-game series against these Western Conference opponents, because they did just get Tatum back, and we've talked about in the last couple of weeks can he fit in with these new role players? Baylor Shireman had 5 or 6 threes against the Cavs. Peyton Pritchard is hitting crazy shots and doing a lot for this team too. So they're still in the first 3 and 4 games of getting their full squad healthy, and I think anything barring a 20-point loss would be a step in the right direction, probably.
Yeah, because I don't think it could have gone any better for Boston with these first 2 games and the results that they got, with everyone else also playing really well. I mean, again, against the Cavs on Sunday, you mentioned Shireman, Pritchard, Sam Hauser went crazy. They went off for a bunch of threes, and they just played really well. I mean, I feel like, Ben, for Boston, it's going to come down to, can the role players keep it up like they have all season? Because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, for the most part, you're going to have to live with them taking tough shots and making difficult contested step-back threes or pull-up mid-range jumpers. It's when those other guys start to get it going from 3 that opens up everything else for the Celtics offense.
Yeah, I gotta agree, Miles. Boston, of course, as we mentioned, they don't have Halliday, Porzingis, on this year's team. Those guys were some pretty good, role players there next to Tatum and Brown in the past that they had before that were reliable. But now it's more so those younger guys you mentioned. And yeah, it's really going to come down to, they can step up, and can they hit their open shots for free? Can they clash the glass good and get rebounds and stuff? And look, the Celtics did pretty well. The Cavs against the Cavs, and a big part of that was because role players were hitting some big shots and getting rebounds, making great plays, to help support Brown and Tatum. That's what they're going to need going forward.
Yeah, so these next 2 games are going to be really big for the Celtics, not only because they're against these other competitive teams and they're trying to get Tatum back in the swing of things, but in the overall Eastern Conference standings, the Detroit Pistons, who have been at the top all season long, have really been struggling as of late. We've talked about their losses against some, other contending teams, but they've had some other really, strange losses as well as of late, where there was a game Saturday where without Cade Cunningham in the lineup, they blew a 23-point lead at home to the Nets. And then the next night they got blown out in Miami against the Heat. So all of a sudden they lose 4 in a row. They go to Brooklyn again Tuesday. But now, after they've had this big lead in the East all season long, and we've kind of thought that they are definitely going to be the 1 seed, that lead is all the way down to just 2.5 games with, still a while to go here with a month left.
Frauds.
Pretenders,
No.
for sure, in my opinion.
Spurs
Go.
go down 25 in the second half, come back, cry on the court after the game. Pistons go up 23 against the worst team in the league at home. Well, the Spurs were at home too, but they were on the second night of a back-to-back. That's the difference between championship level teams. Like I think the Spurs are for real, and I don't think the Pistons are.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree, but again, the Pistons. Well, yeah, I would agree, but I will say the Pistons. I mean, they're the biggest weakness, like we've talked about, with the lack of 3-point shooting, and when Cade Cunningham isn't on the floor, who is that second guy going to be? That's where this is a game where you see that. You see Jalen Duren go 7 for 19 from the field. Tobias Harris lead them with 18 points, and then it's like you're asking, like their starting backcourt in this game with Cade out. They go to Sasser and Dennis Jenkins, who are, Jenkins has been a surprising role player this year, and Sasser is a good young defensive player. But a starting backcourt when your best player is that just cannot be the answer. And of course, Asar Thompson was out too, but offensively, you're not going to get much from him either. So we'll see if the Pistons can bounce back from, again, their first real adversity of the season.
Is that greater or worse than the backcourt we saw tonight of Campaign / Jared McCain and QG, who airballed a wide open 3-pointer late in the game in Cleveland tonight?
Hey, Q Grimes had some nice finishes, though. He had some nice takes to the basket. He had
a good one on your guys' end.
Yeah, there were some nice ones. But this is an all-time lineup that they had tonight. That is for sure. I wish we got to see Kyle Lowry get in there. But anyways, let's move on to a more prominent game that happened on Monday night, and that was the Thunder and the Nuggets in Oklahoma City. I believe just maybe a couple weeks after the game that they had where Lou Dort and Jokic got into the big scuffle there. They battle again here tonight with a couple of key additions returning to the lineup for both teams. Aaron Gordon came back for the Denver Nuggets, playing in his first game since January 23rd, his second game since January 23rd. And then AJ Mitchell for the Thunder played his first game in at least 20 for them. Crazy back and forth game, a wild final few minutes that we'll get into. The Thunder won at 129-126 in a battle of the MVPs where both of them nearly put up 30-point triple-doubles. Also got strong play from a surprising role player, and then the player that returned to each team also had a big impact on the game. So, Ben, you were the one on assignment from us to catch this game since we were out having a fun time in Cleveland. So, Ben, what stood out to you from the start of this game between the Nuggets and the Thunder?
So at the start, Aaron Gordon, goodness, he was at a hot streak to start. 19 points in the first quarter wasn't even over yet. Like, he was just getting baskets at will, man. And then he sort of tailed off after that. So the Thunder now got off to a rough start getting stats, but eventually they got back in it, figured some things out, played better defense to help with that, and yeah, overall, it was pretty back and forth the start of the first half. Once OKC, started coming back in the first quarter, they just really started getting things rolling with their offense going forward from there. And for Denver, it was like after that Pat started the first quarter, it's like, what are we doing here defensively for the rest of this half? I I wasn't impressed with, some of the effort on some plays, just leaving guys wide open for free a few times there, and Thunder knocked, you know, freeze down stuff and really got on a good scoring run there. But in second half, the Denver, did better defensively and stuff. Like Christian Brown, second half, I thought did a good job guarding Shea, but still Shea at the end. Oh my goodness, he knocked down some crazy shots. I mean, Shea still found a way to make great plays, even with Denver being more aggressive and playing better on the defensive side.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a crazy game, Joey. You and I watched the fourth quarter on the train coming back, and my goodness, it was back and forth. Then the Thunder started going crazy with Jalen Williams, Jay Will, having 7 threes. He went off, and then Shea over the final minutes went crazy. And then just when you think it's over, Denver gets 2 4-point possessions that allow them to tie the game. And then Shea comes back and hits the game-winning three. I mean, those last few minutes had it all.
It was absolutely phenomenal basketball to watch. It really was. It, like you said, it had everything. Even a Lou Dort, another flagrant foul on Nikola Jokic, like another dirty play. It's crazy how this game. I want to see a 7-game series from these two teams. I can't wait for the playoffs because I really want to see these two teams just going at it. Like it's been incredible to watch this entire year, and this was just another installment on it.
The thought that,
Nick, why are you shaking your head, Nick?
Well, because it seems to me that you guys hopped on the train and watched a super competitive, very high level basketball ending to a game. But meanwhile, like 10, 15 minutes before then, we were watching probably the lowest level finish to a basketball game with, Craig Porter, Larry Nance, Naquan, Minix out there. I don't even know that guy's first name, to be honest. Trent Watford, like the Sixers had 4 2-ways out there. The Cavs had 10 days out there. Like that's what we were watching. And then you guys turned this on. Just the complete opposite sort of vibe. But yeah, I think that's funny. What I was going to say is it seems like whenever these two teams play, the Nuggets and the Thunder, like it doesn't matter where the game is, doesn't matter who's in or out of the lineup. It's going to be a bloodbath. Like you're going to keep it within 2 or 3 possessions, probably the whole game. And even if it seems like one team has it in the bag late, it's almost like they're never out of it somehow because you get 2 possessions with 4 points for Denver to get back in the game. So yeah, these two teams obviously don't like each other very much, and playing just a week or so after like a very intense battle in Oklahoma City, yeah, you knew going in it was going to be high stakes, and like I said, every time these two teams played, like you could just expect it to be a war.
Yeah, I mean, again, another game where the superstars showed out. I mean, Jokic was unbelievable in the final minutes, making threes, hook shots, free throws to just score and keep them in the game. And then Shea going nuclear himself, hitting 2 dagger step back threes, one to his left, then one to his right to win the game in the final seconds there. And this was a historic game for him. He was able to break the all-time record, or did he tie Wilt Chamberlain in this one?
He tied him.
Tied Wilt Chamberlain with his 126th straight 20-plus point game, for which ties the most ever. Can we talk about how crazy that stat is? I mean, any record that Wilt Chamberlain has, you think, okay, that's never going to be beat. And we're on the cusp of this being broken, and it's one of the more impressive streaks that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, people in the basketball world talk about Wilt like he could walk on water. And obviously, everyone's seen the picture of him holding up the 100 points. So for Shea to be just him and Wilt in the conversation for like this streak is, yeah, it's a very impressive achievement.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can get that record here in their next game, which would, again, just be incredible. I mean, for as much. Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Just to talk about like in college football, you have your Heisman Award, in the NBA, you have your MVP, and you have like a signature game. To a lot of times, like when a Heisman is awarded, you're like, oh, that game kind of got him this. Like to me, this was a signature game from Shea because you had Caruso, Chet, iHeart, and J Dub, four of the top 5 players, not named Shea, all out, and he willed them to battle against everything, like 2 4-point plays. The other guy in the opposite end has the last 2 MVP awards, Jokic, and he was doing everything that an MVP does to keep him in the game, and Shea was able to will his team to win still.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That this definitely could be a statement game when we get into the MVP conversations at the end of the season. This could definitely be the game that could give Shea his second one in a row. Yeah, so just overall, terrific game between the Nuggets and the Thunder. Again, like I agree with Joey. I hope we could definitely see another playoff rematch between these two teams. They're as healthy as possible. The Thunder are able to win this one, like you said, Nick, without all those different guys available. But just another impressive win, and for Denver, that's a tough one to lose. You get Aaron Gordon back. We've been talking about their struggles as of late because Gordon has been out, and in the 2 games they got blitzed by New York on Friday night at home in Gordon's first game back. But then he goes crazy to start this game against the Thunder, ends up having 23 points and still unable to win this game. But I'm sure Nuggets fans are still at least hopeful that with Aaron Gordon back now that they're starting to get healthier, that this is a team that is still at the same level of the Thunder. And when it comes to a series, they could still have a chance to win the series.
Yeah, I think so. Like, even they just got Cam Johnson back too. I don't know how long he's been out, but he didn't have a great game tonight. They're going to need him to step up, so they're still not back to their potential yet, and I think they know that. But now they're getting everybody healthy. Now is the time to prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. Another outcome that happened on Sunday that was a little bit more surprising was the New York Knicks in LA, where they got defeated pretty handily by the Lakers, 110-97. The Lakers without LeBron James in that game. And currently, they're finishing up a game in LA, but against the Clippers, where they're currently trying to make a very late comeback, down 5 with 34 seconds to go. But if this were to hold, they'd lose back-to-back games in LA. To the Lakers and the Clippers. Ben, what did you make of the game against the Lakers and what you've seen from this Clippers game where New York could lose these back-to-back games on this LA trip?
Yeah, just not the best offense I've noticed from the Knicks these last few games in LA. Was a weird back-to-back, though. I mean, and they're all the way on the West Coast. I could understand that was tough for them, but like I didn't watch too much of the Lakers game, but yeah, I thought what I remember still from what I found out from that one that the Knicks were kind of stagnant at times offensively that game But credit the Lakers though for stepping up good at that one. They needed to win badly in that one. And good for Luka Doncic for stepping up and doing great and being the best player in that game. And tonight against the Clippers, the Knicks have had some bad turnovers, some sloppy play offensively, and they're gonna have to regroup and figure some things out. But I just noticed I have the game in front of me on my TV that the Knicks have an easy schedule coming up: the Jazz, the Pacers, and the Warriors. So they'll have a great chance of being able to just get some momentum going against the bad teams, and hopefully get on a roll from there.
Yeah, I mean, the East standings will continue to be a bloodbath for the rest of the season as the top 4 try to figure themselves out, with the Pistons struggling, the Celtics jumping up, New York and Cleveland now having weaker schedules coming up, so they'll try to fight for positioning for the top 4.
I will say, the Knicks losing and possibly losing to the Clippers too. I think it's very telling because they're only the Pistons have a better home record than the Knicks
I was just about to say
in
this.
the East, and the Knicks are going to be, if they lose this game to the Clippers, they'll be 17-16 on the road.
I have
So-
18 and 16, but yeah, I just looked at that same stat because I noticed that too.
I was about to say, I thought I saw it on TV the other day, and I was just checking to confirm. I'm like, man, this is very crucial for all these East teams that are still in the mix, that you don't want New York to have a higher seed than you if you play them, aka like a Cleveland.
I was gonna say this is like becoming part of their reputation, part of their MO. They struggle on the road. There's 16 games above 500, and if they lose this one, like Joey said, they'll only be 1 or 2 above 500 on the road. I was thinking that while we were talking, and I'm like, I thought they had a really difficult stretch of a West Coast trip earlier in the year, and I went back to look, and sure enough, they lost 4 out of 6 in January to start on their West Coast trip then. So yeah, that's definitely something to be concerned about because you have to play the other team in a playoff series 3 times on their home court. So
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, yeah, the road record, is this the worst among this looks like this is one of the worst among the top teams in the Eastern Conference. It's the worst among the top 5. So, that's definitely something to note there. I mean, the teams like in the plan, like the Hawks and the Hornets and the Sixers have better road records than the New York Knicks this season. So that's definitely something to take into account and watch for over the rest of the year. And if they, lose this one today, they'll only be a half game ahead of the Cavs for third in the Eastern Conference. So every game is going to matter the rest of the way, and that's what we love to see here at this point of the season.
Oh, yes.
absolutely.
But now let's take a look at our tier list, our NBA tier list for teams' playoff chances and all the tiers that we created. We've done this list since last season. We brought it back here this season about a month ago, right near the All-Star break. And here it is. This is the exact list that we had last month with all of the different tiers, all 7 of them. Nick, would you like to go through them since you are the proud creator of the names of these tiers?
Absolutely, yeah. The Ultimate Tank, a lot of these are pretty self-explanatory. Ultimate Tank, teams that are playing for a better draft spot. Playing for pride is you're kind of in that gray area where you either don't have your pick or you're still kind of trying to get in the playoffs, but you're not all out tanking. Playing material, you're going to make the play-in. Outside shot is in terms of like getting to the conference finals, winning 2 rounds, getting a decent matchup in the first one, and then maybe giving a top seed a run or whatever. Upset potential, this is for like our 5 through 10 seeds that we think could knock off a 1 through 4. And then if the stars align, like pretty much because OKC has a really good chance to repeat, other teams are going to need some luck to get there.
Perfect.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then obviously your inner circle is the best of the best. I think the for sure championship contenders at this point of the season. So, how do we want to start with this? Do we want to start from the bottom again? I guess we'll go through each tier, talk about what is still there, and then we can make adjustments if we see fit. So the Ultimate Tank, which we are still already in, includes the Nets, Bulls, Mavericks, Pacers, Kings, Jazz, Wizards, Pelicans, and the Grizzlies. Is there anyone we want to add to Ultimate Tank / your lottery teams?
Milwaukee Bucks. They are not, even though you may say they're playing for pride because they didn't trade Giannis and they're trying to do it. I am sorry. They are now 4 games out of the 10th seed, and Charlotte has been pretty good since the All-Star break. I know it says
Never say never.
right now, but I don't see them playing for pride. They're not good.
I would agree with Joey.
But
What
the
do you
key
got?
word
Ben,
being
Nick?
Ultimate Tank.
Yeah,
But the problem with the ultimate tank is like we have the Pelicans in there, and they don't
I
even
don't
have
know.
their
To
pick.
me, they're
Technically, they're
a
not tanking.
team playing for pride, but because the Bucks are bad. I mean, it could seem like they're taking, but to me, they're like playing for pride. Still, somehow, even though they're bad, I would leave them playing for pride. But you could put them in ultimate tank. I get the point. One of those, is where they belong, at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean the thing is again with the Pelicans and the Bucks. Look, the Pelicans, when you think about it, we've been making fun of them tanking with because they don't even have their first round pick. Technically, they still have a slim chance of getting their first round pick, and that is if the lottery gods bless the Bucks with a better pick, I believe, because it's a swap. So on a technicality, those two teams are tanking for the better positioning in the draft or for the hope that their team gets the better or worse pick. So it gives the Pelicans still some incentive to be garbage, and I think the same for the Bucks because I mean, again, they are 4 games behind the play-in, and Giannis is back. We talked about it before. I don't like that he is back for their actual outlook of their team. I think I think that they should and that they are in ultimate tank / full on lottery mode.
That's what I think. Because if you're going playing for pride, technically the Pelicans are trying as well.
Okay.
Because they're not really trying to tank because they don't really have their pick, or they have a very, very slim chance of their pick.
So we're going to put them right next to each other. Bucks and Pelicans. We'll put the family next to each other as they try to battle for the right positioning. So then currently in playing for pride, the only team is the LA Clippers, who continue to play some pretty solid basketball here even after the trades they made, trading away Harden and Zubac. After this win against the Knicks, they're going to be 32-32, which is tied with the Warriors for the 8th seed.
Do we move them up to the play-in material?
See, this is what I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I would be okay if we swapped the Clippers and the Warriors, since Golden State's been dealing with so many injuries as of late. I feel like in all their games that they're playing in, they're playing for pride in all the games they play. Like they've been in a few of the primetime matchups over the last few weeks. Like Saturday, they had a real tough game against OKC, and even though they lost, I'm like, all right, you still have your pride because it was a close game against a really good team. And same for some of the other great wins they've had with Pat Spencer and Guy Santos in the starting lineup and things like that. So, and personally, I think the Clippers roster is still good enough to where I think they will for sure be in the play. I think the Warriors, because of all their injuries, are playing for pride right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I would agree.
Swap the two.
I will.
All right, so we'll make a.
I know we're swapping them, but I would also possibly be down for moving Portland down to playing for pride. They are now the only team in the play-in that's below 500, so they're not really in the contending play-in teams, but they're playing for pride because they still got a young team and are technically, even though they're in the play-in, I think they're just playing for pride just because they're there. Because Memphis behind them is definitely not catching them to be in the play-in. But I don't see Portland really doing anything outside because they'll have the 10th spot.
I mean, you have to also remember, like, it's a tier list, so those teams in the bottom tier, I think Portland compares more with the teams in the tier that they're in than the teams in the bottom tier, so I don't think it makes sense to move them down right now.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'd say that because the Trailblazers are for sure going to be in the plane and they're only a game and a half back of moving up further if they're able to get Denny Avdia back and they keep playing, and Shaedon Sharpe when he comes back, they will still be in a decent position. And again, there's no way that they miss the play-in entirely.
Yeah. I was curious.
I get what you're saying, though.
I understand what you're saying, but because I think all the lottery teams are set, it kind of makes this playing for pride tier a little strange because no one.
Right.
It's kind of you're either in the lottery or you're in the play-in.
I would use the same argument that I just made, saying that the Trailblazers are more similar to the teams in their tier, to move down the Suns and the Raptors. And then I would also put Philly next to the Lakers.
Okay. We're doing a lot. We're doing a lot here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys think about
First,
moving the Suns and the Raptors down? Because I
moving
don't
the
think that
Suns
they have as
or the
good of a
Raptors?
chance as the Lakers.
Okay, well, let's see. To start, in playing material right now, we have the Heat, the Magic, the Hornets, and the Hawks from the East, and then now the Clippers and the Blazers from the Western Conference. Are there any of the teams that we in the East that we want to move up to outside shot?
No. Those are the core 4 playing teams.
I mean, could be Miami or Charlotte, maybe the outside.
Those guys are locked for the play-in every year. What are we doing?
Orlando and Miami have recently gone on very hot streaks. Like both have won like 4 to 5 games in a row, and are currently fit to maybe be a top 5-6 team in the East to just get the 5th and 6th seeds.
Both right now, Orlando and Miami are higher than Philly in the standings. Orlando's 6th outside of the play-in technically, and Miami is at 7. But
the Sixers have had their fair share of injuries.
Yeah,
Orlando has won 4 in a row. 3 have come versus the Wizards, the Mavericks, and the Bucks.
Yeah. That is true.
Fair. Definitely, that's fair.
I'm cool with keeping Orlando and Miami there because
Miami beat the Nets twice in a row. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, because I don't really see that.
I think they're all good where they're at. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I agree. Even though they're a little higher, I agree.
Okay. All right. So outside shot where we're at now, Lakers, Suns, and Raptors. Nick, who do you want to move the Raptors and the Suns down to play-in material?
That's correct. And my reasoning would be that, just going back to the fact that it's a tier list, I don't think they're on the same tier as the Lakers. So we can either move the Lakers up or move them down. That's what I think.
I'd argue that the Suns are on the same tier as the Lakers because the Lakers have not been able to beat them even when the Suns have been healthy, whether they've been healthy, whether they've had a player out.
Sorry.
What?
I said then why aren't the Spurs on the same tier as the Thunder?
Well, because the Spurs are. We've said when we were making the video that the Spurs, this would be their first year making the playoffs, and we don't think they'd win a championship because it'd be their first year. That's why they were in the Stars Align in February.
Yeah.
If the Suns played the Lakers in a series, I don't know what would happen. But I just think they are on the same tier because the Lakers. We've talked about it all year. The Lakers have not been able to beat teams like the Suns, and they've really struggled with the Suns. So on paper, the Lakers may have a more talented roster, but they have not been able to beat the grittiness of the Suns.
I kind of agree with Nick though. Because the outside shot is the Lakers. If LeBron, you have 3 really big clutch guys that are perfect for playoffs: Doncic, LeBron, and an AR-15. The Suns with an outside shot, they got Devin Booker and Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. Like, it's not the same kind of outside shot the Lakers have, in my opinion. Like, I could
you guys know this, that like playoffs are obviously different than the regular season, and in the playoffs, like your best punch or like your best card, the best hand that you can play is like what you try and get to every possession. And defensively, like you're trying to stop them from getting to that or stop them when they get to that. Like you kind of know it's coming because you try and get back to the same thing over and over because it's the playoffs and you want to get the best possible look. So like I think for the Lakers, like they have a better, like Joey was saying, hand to play, and that's why their chance of having an outside shot is higher than the Suns. So that's why I would put them on different tiers.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, what you have to play your best basketball. You want your best basketball players out there. I think the Lakers have way better basketball players than the Suns.
What Miles is talking about is the
just like
performance
head-to-head.
not lining up.
Yeah, the performances I get not lining up, but
Yeah, because we've talked about how defensively they are garbage against these good teams. So what would you want obviously the Lakers have the better offensive players with a lack of defensive role players, but the Suns have defensive role players and good offensive role players with a superstar. So I feel like they're on the same level. I give them I think they're the same chance. I would be surprised if either team won a playoff series.
Well, whatever
me
Ben
too,
decides,
I
then
guess.
if Ben thinks they should be together, then they'll stay together. If he's on our team, if he's on our side, then
Ben, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I would keep the 3 teams that are there and outside shot, but I would also move the 76ers down to outside shot.
I would also agree with that on Ben. I would definitely move the Sixers down to outside shot. But I would also keep the Raptors in there as well. I'm not with you on that, Nick, but I am with you on the Suns.
So the Sixers to outside shot. Okay, I can agree with that. Just because they've had major injuries, but I think in a month's time they could move right back up because I feel like they are going to be primed for upset potential when we get to April because of all the stars they have. They just got to get on the floor, which is the same story every year with the Sixers.
That is true.
Yeah, the Raptors again, it's tough. The Raptors have had a really hard time beating teams that are better than them.
material.
Yeah, but then like I feel like again, it's one of those mathematic things where like we can't then have 5 teams in the play-in.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? It's our tier list. If that's where we think like their performance has them in that tier, then we could put them there.
But I think
'cause
they're
it's
better.
named-
But I think they've been better than them. They've been better than those 4 teams over the whole course of the season.
Yeah,
I mean,
it too.
or Ben, would you agree?
I would agree. And that's why I think they have somewhat of an outside shot. So yeah,
I guess I would go back to like me and Joey are kind of coming at from the roster potential standpoint, and you guys are, or at least Miles, like what has happened so far based on performance and stuff. And I don't know, like maybe they performed better throughout the course of the season, but for stretches, like the Hornets have been better than the Raptors. I mean, the Hornets have been better than the Knicks and the Cavs and the Celtics too. So this is not a very good argument. But
yeah, I will say, like I get the roster bit with the Raptors, but I also have to look at the performance as well. And their last time they beat somebody that's like a bona fide playoff team was January 25th against OKC.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I will say the last 2, just like a week or 2 ago, when they played back-to-back games against OKC and San Antonio, those were both single-digit losses. So it was close games against the 2 of the biggest top contenders in the West. So it's not like they're getting blown out by these top teams, and they're clearly just not good against these other good teams. Like, at least recently, against 2 of the top contenders, they're holding their own.
This is interesting, Nick. You might be slowly convincing me because when we look at the name outside shot, yeah, I don't think the Raptors probably wouldn't have an outside shot because they haven't beaten these good teams. But the play-in thing is just weird because I feel like in that,
I mean, big deal. It can be named. We can change the name if we want. Teams not in the top 6.
Well, but then they are in the top 6.
Well, you are saying, Miles, like you said with the Sixers, like in a month you might put them right back into upset potential. Well, right now the Sixers are in the play-in, so technically they go in the play-in? But if in a month time they're out of it and they're in the outside shot or upset potential, maybe the Raptors are down in the play-in.
How about we change it to no chance at home court?
I mean,
But then the Sixers have to be in it.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no playing material. I think is right. I'm just gonna give the Raptors their respect because they have been in the top 5 all season. They have been up there the entire season. They've taken care of business against the teams that they are better than. It's just the teams that are better than them that they've struggled a little bit against. But they've done a good job against like the Sixers, who are on the same tier. So I think we'll keep it how it is for now. And if they keep on struggling, we'll get to it in a month, and then we'll move them down accordingly. Because I think the Heat and the Magic have been playing better, even though they beat, worse teams. The Hornets and the Hawks have been on fire. Like there could be some world where the Hornets are in the outside shot, but I just don't think they deserve the full respect that other than the Raptors, from the last few weeks. So I think that the tier is good right now.
7-game series between the Hornets and Raptors. I'm picking the Hornets.
I'm not.
I'm not.
I probably wouldn't now.
Look at it right now. Who's in the 4th spot? Cleveland. Toronto in the 5th spot. If you had it right now, are you giving the Raptors any sort of shot against Cleveland? No. I'm certain.
Yeah, currently right now. Yeah, so, okay, outside shot. We'll keep Sixers, Lakers, Suns, Raptors for now. Again, we're looking at all this a month from now, which will be like a couple weeks left in the regular season to see where these all sit. So the tier above outside shot is upset potential, and right now it is only the Houston Rockets and the Minnesota Timberwolves in that spot. What do you guys think about upset potential right now?
I would move Detroit down.
No.
Ooh. Nick's bringing the hot takes today.
No.
I mean, because it's a tier list, guys. It's a tier list. And it's not about the names, because like you guys are going to say they're a 1 seed, how are they going to upset anybody? So in terms of the tiers, I think the other 3 teams in the last couple of weeks have moved ahead of the Pistons, the Celtics, the Cavs, and the Knicks. So I would put them on a higher tier.
I see where he's at, and I do kind of agree that even though they're the 1 seed, I also believe they're pretenders if we're doing pretender contender. And I think all the other 3 East teams on that side are better than Detroit. And if it was the playoffs right now, any 3 of those teams could make the conference finals or the finals and not Detroit. So even if the stars align for Detroit making the conference finals and they have to play either Cleveland or Boston or New York, I'm probably taking any of the other 3 teams in the 7-game series over Detroit.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where, there probably aren't the favorite in those series, which is why I'd be okay moving them down, even though it's they are the 1 seed.
They have all potential to beat the other 3 seeds that are currently behind.
Yeah, because in a series they might not be the favorite, even though they're the higher seed. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, Pistons are still like the 1 seed. Rough stretches happen of the season. So I could pick the other 3 teams to beat the Pistons in the playoff series, but for the 1 seed throughout the year, I guess I would leave them if the stars align for now, but who knows? Could change in a month. But
yeah, I mean, I see where Ben's coming from too, because I don't want to just take one, below par week of a season when they have been awesome the whole year. I mean, we've talked about their flaws the whole time.
I would argue that we've seen this story from JB Bickerstaff teams before, where those teams were never a 1 seed. This is by far the best season he's ever had as a coach. By far the best season he's had. I'm getting confused with Kenny's first year and JB's last.
If we're here's the reason why I think they should be an upset potential, and you said it, Miles. If they advance after the first round, that they should be favored because they're the 1 seed, even if they are the 1 seed. If in the second round they have to play Cleveland if we're the 4 seed and we win our series. I think Cleveland would be favored in that series.
No, I think they'd be favored in any of those series. Yeah, any of those.
I don't think Detroit's favored in any of those series. And at that point, that's officially an upset. Doesn't matter if you're the higher seed or not. You're officially an upset if more money in Vegas and all that kind of stuff is going in this, and everyone thinks the other team is going to win. You're officially an upset.
Well,
yeah, I'll agree with that. I think I'll move them. We can
all
down.
agree definitely that we're not moving any of those 3 up to the inner circle. So Detroit has to move down.
Well, upset potential is still so the Rockets and the Timberwolves. Did we want to make any adjustments with those? Because I'm the Houston Rockets. I'm not sure what to do with them because they have had a pretty rough little stretch for a while here because of their injuries. And I'm a little concerned on whether or not they could even win a series.
Yeah, I would move them down. I could see us moving them down. I'm not too upset with where they're at in upset potential because I think they have one of the best starting 5s across the board, like all 6'6" to 6'8" and above. And you got Kevin Durant out there able to take over a game at any time with size. Obviously, yeah, you lost Steven Adams and you don't have Fred VanVleet, so the team is depleted and they've taken some tough losses. Şengün can't really hold down a defense, so Capella's got to be out there more, and that's not great. So I could see them moving down, but I think they're good where they're at right now because, like I said, they got one of the best starting 5s, and they got just a different hand, a different card than any other team.
I don't like that I'm agreeing with Nick with everything, but I agree with Nick on this one as well. Like, I would be fine moving them down, but like, you give me Kevin Durant in a playoff series, he could single-handedly defeat a team in a game or two, even if the other guys are having a bad game for just a game or two. He can cover for that. Not to mention, defense always picks up. This is already a great defensive team, usually outside of Şengün. Like, their problems are coming, at least from when I watch them, on the offensive end, because outside of Kevin Durant, they don't really have a good offensive flow at all. That's where I see their problems at.
Well, yeah, where I get concerned with is we saw it like in the Spurs game. I know the Spurs, I mean, they're on this list. They're on another level. And in other Rockets losses this year, the blueprint has been very simple. Get the ball out of Durant's hand, and they'll live with other guys beating you from the perimeter. And I think that's, your simple game plan. Like, I'm looking at this, like, if they played the team that they're currently in the same tier with, the Timberwolves, in a 7-game series, who would you guys favor in the series?
I don't know.
Honestly, I don't really know because Minnesota has been kind of really weird to me lately too.
Like,
yeah, both
Minnesota
teams
has
have
the
been
best
weird.
offense, but Houston has the best defense.
Yeah, I think it would favor Houston by a bit, but it'd be like a super close spread. But it could potentially be a 4 or 5 match we could see in the playoffs, and it could be interesting if that happens. The points get
okay, we can keep it. We can keep it.
Yeah,
I'd keep it.
Barely keep it because I agree with the Rockets are on slippery water and same with the Timberwolves because I don't really get those teams because they have a lot of the tools to succeed, but they're just not, and their flaws are coming out big time.
At least the Wolves, though, have been playing really well as of late, though, which is like for a little bit, I was considering if the stars align. Because we've seen this movie before the last couple seasons, and it has worked. And I think they could deserve that respect, but we'll see if they can keep up this 3 seed of the West level a month from now. Okay, so if the stars align, currently the Spurs, the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Knicks, what do we feel about this?
I'm cool with that.
And again, I might just be on the Celtics kind of Jason Tatum train, but I would honestly flip the Nuggets and the Celtics from inner circle and if the stars align.
Yeah, I was thinking about
maybe it might be based off of the game we just saw with the Nuggets finally getting healthier and then Thunder still without like Knicks, like 4 of their 5 best guys outside of Shea, and they still lost. Yes, it was very close and a great game, but they're still missing all their best players, and they're going to be healthy when it comes time to it, I think. So I don't know if I still see the Nuggets on that same level as the Thunder. And the Celtics with Tatum back, and again, it's only been a couple games with him, but now that we've seen him, he has a whole month to get ready. And they're going to be playing good competition, so he knows what kind of competition to get him right into the mode for playoffs. I have a really good feeling or bad feeling as a Cavs fan is concerned. Bad feeling that the Celtics are going to be really, really good come time.
Denver is becoming more concerning as we keep going. Like, again, they were in a close loss against the Thunder, but we've talked about some of these weird games that they had. I mean, we've talked about the defensive stats when Gordon has been on the floor versus when he's been off, but I mean, they're gonna need to figure this out soon, and they have a tough stretch coming up as well. I mean, this game, really, it goes back to when they played the Lakers. They beat the Lakers, they lose to the Knicks on Friday, they lose to the Thunder today. They play Houston Wednesday, the Spurs Thursday, Lakers Saturday, then the Sixers next Tuesday when Embiid could be back. Like, this is a lot of games in a row where they really need to figure some things out here, because they could be an inner circle team, but I think that they could be an if the stars align team, because at the current moment, they're a game and a half ahead of the 7th seed Suns. Like, there's a world where they're in the play-in because of the injuries and the lack of defensive cohesion.
And regardless of what you say, if you're in the play-in, that's a tall order, especially a team that's already been riddled with injuries, and you have to have them play more games before you get to the playoffs. It's not a good sign.
They need some stars to align. I think we're definitely moving Denver down. The question is if we're moving either the Spurs or the Celtics up. I would move the Spurs up. That's me.
I agree with that.
Mark it down. Whatever the date is, March 10th. I'm going all in on the Spurs right now.
I get it, but
because you don't put up 145 points on the best defense in the NBA and not give me a pretty good convincing argument that you have a good hand, a good card that nobody else can really in the playoffs and stuff. Like what I talked about, getting to your best look. It's about imposing and having the will to impose your identity on the other team, and that's why I think Houston could have an upset potential. OKC has that best card. They've done it before, but San Antonio, in my opinion, has done enough to be right there because they have arguably the best player on the planet in Victor Wembanyama, and they just have tall guards. They have De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle who get up in you. They defend the ball. They play both ends, and they can put up 145 points while doing it.
I wouldn't be mad. I think the star that needs to align is their experience. I know these guys play hard and they're playing these great competition, but playoff basketball is just a different animal. I think a lot of these guys are up for it, but it has to be all of the guys and all the coaches have to be up for it. And that's a big star to align for me, is them getting ready for that. But I completely understand it because this is the closest team to the Thunder we have.
March 10th, 2026, 1:11 a.m. I'm in on the Spurs too. I'm in on the Spurs too. I really like them. I really like the Spurs a lot. I mean, they provide so many different things on the floor. Obviously, I mean, the biggest card they have is they have the 7'4" alien that can, do everything. I mean, he literally does 4 to 5 things a game that you're just like, what? How is this happening? But then on top of that, they have some of the best perimeter defense in the game when you look at Stephon Castle. And, I mean, De'Aaron Fox is an all-star caliber guy that gets overlooked heavily because of Wemby. And then they have role players that all know their role perfectly when you look at Vassell, Champagnie, Keldon Johnson, Dylan Harper off the bench, Harrison Barnes. I really like their team. Now, the experience thing is huge because we have not seen in a very long time that a team has made the playoffs and gone on a huge run to like the finals in the first year of them being together with the current iteration of the team. So it is a tall task to ask. That said, Wembanyama is not a bad, card to play. Like you keep saying, Nick, in that situation where you're trying to pull off history, you have a historical guy leading your team. So I think the Spurs deserve to be up there going into the playoffs. We'll see what happens, over the last month.
I am not mad at
Ben,
that.
you've been high on the Spurs all year as well, and Vic, you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they fare in the playoffs. But like, we saw they beat the Thunder multiple times, so we also have that inner circle. Like, I know they could compete with them. And Wemby, yeah, he's a monster. So I feel them they're just good enough to be in the inner circle, and I think they'll be up for it in the playoffs.
So, Nick, you said you don't want to put Boston up there. Joey, you said you do. Ben, what do you think?
No, but like my mind could change on that in the next week or so. Like it could
Agreed.
depend on the Thunder Spurs game, but for now, no.
I get it.
Yeah, these Thunder Spurs games could have a huge impact on. I mean, we could revisit this next episode and it changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, I mean, all these teams that are in If the Stars Align have had their own successes against each other throughout the season. Like, the Cavs have had great success against the Spurs this year. The Knicks have had great success against the Nuggets this year. The Celtics have had success over the Cavs. Like, all over the board, there's been great success throughout the board there. So I think those are definitely, for sure, the top 6 favorites to win the title this season. Boston, yeah, man. See, I think do you guys think that Boston is the favorite in the Eastern Conference? Obviously, we've just seen 2 games. Nick, you go yes.
Well, it was the Cavs up until Sunday.
Yeah. I tend to agree.
Yeah,
For me.
Ben, what are your thoughts?
Man, it kind of tricky. Man, just barely the Celtics. They beat the Cavs, but like, I got hope the Cavs can bounce back, and it could maybe change to the Cavs again for me, depending on what happens. But for right now, I think Celtics.
I would agree. So I'll move them ahead. We didn't really talk about the Sunday game much from the Cavs side. What I'll say from that is obviously the Celtics look great and the Cavs missed a lot of shots, and because of that result, the Celtics are now the favorite in the Eastern Conference. But we've seen plenty times before, maybe not plenty times before, but we've seen instances before where the Celtics have gone on cold stretches like the Cavs did in the second quarter, and the reverse outcome happens. So it just depends on if you're hot or cold, and the Cavs were just extremely cold on Sunday. I don't know if that happens a lot more throughout the season or, for these other teams. But either way, it should be a great battle the rest of the way here. How do we feel about this list as a whole after doing this? A lot of good discussion.
I want to know if you guys would make any changes personally, because you guys know I would move the Suns and the Raptors down to the play-in material, and I think that is it from me. I don't know what you guys think. Joey, would you move Boston up?
I would move Boston up. I'm kind of sold on them, especially because I know we said we even if we did this next episode, a lot of this would change. But that's the thing. I'm playing that I'm putting this in that this is going to stand until the playoffs. This is what I think is going to happen. Boston to me is the top contender for the East and would be in the inner circle. But
I honestly think I might agree now just talking about it through. I would probably put Boston up there too, because I feel like these teams in the teams at the top of the East, when you look at the Celtics and the Cavs and the Knicks, I think they are all like capable of winning a series against the Spurs, who are in inner circle, or against the Nuggets, who are in the same tier if they had to play them. It's just the Thunder that, you know, have the, you know, ultimate trump card. And you wonder if they should just be on a tier of their own, but you know, they're all, I think they're all, you know, on the same tier, and repeating is very hard in this league. So I think they are, you know, right there.
Yeah.
Ben, you have any changes you would make to this list?
I mean, I would, I think, leave it where it's at. Actually, I actually don't like. Well, except I would have Pistons and the Stars line still for now. That would be the only thing that would be different. It was just like an individual list, but we got to be fair here. It's a whole running the paint list, you know. We got
That's right.
our opinions, you know, the majority.
Yeah, so we'll see where we're at a month from now. Maybe in between there, I'll add a extra tier to the bottom that's called the DeAndre Jordan tier, and put the New Orleans Pelicans because, you know, because I have to mention them every episode for being such a great franchise. But that is our list. Let us know your thoughts. Your thoughts on the list. If you agree, disagree, we've got a long way to go here still in the regular season, and hoping that these big matchups keep on coming. We got some huge ones. Again, the Celtics taking on the Spurs tonight, 8 o'clock on NBC and Peacock, and then on Thursday going to OKC to take on the Thunder, 10 o'clock on Prime. But even on Tuesday, the Timberwolves and the Lakers in a playoff rematch, the 11 o'clock p.m. game in LA, the super late one. And then Wednesday, ESPN has a fun doubleheader with the Cavs and the Magic. And then the Rockets and the Nuggets, two teams that have been on the struggle bus lately, looking to find their way in the Western Conference playoff picture. You guys have anything else before Gaddy? Anything else you're looking forward to over these next few days?
If you see Cameron Payne with painted nails, that's not him. That's Jared McCain.
That's Jared McCain. I know we said it was a historic night as well for Shea Gilgeous, but us three guys that got to go to the game tonight, we also witnessed history of James Harden being officially the 9th person to reach 29,000 points in his NBA career.
And by the way, full transparency, I was sitting directly opposite the arena from these two clowns, and when they announced that he was the 9th player in NBA history, part of the arena started to stand up and give him an ovation, and these two clowns sat their butts in their seat. I stood up. I said, that's amazing. That's literally amazing. Ninth person of all time. And I looked across the way, and I'm like, no way these dudes are not standing up, giving him a standing up.
Hey, we were being respectful to the people behind us that were also sitting down and didn't want to stand up.
It was a timeout.
You were also on the Cavs side. We were on the opposite side.
That's true.
So you were closer to the bench. You had to stand up.
That's right. But that's all we got here. Hopefully we can have maybe someday we'll have a Run in the Paint podcast live from one of these games to talk about. Or Vegas. That will happen someday. That will happen someday. But for now, that's all for us here. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode of the podcast where, since we're about to get into March Madness, we're going to have a little bit of March Madness here on the podcast. So stay tuned for that. But that's all we have here today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.